Good morning, everybody. In the last class, I have helped you how to make short note of English drama, and we have discussed Act 1, Scene 1 and 2. Today, let us discuss Act 1, Scene 3. So, when we come into Act 1, Scene 3, uh, the scene takes place in Venice, a public place in Venice. And the main characters mentioned here in the scene are Shylock, Bassanio, and Antonio. The main characters of the scene are Shylock, Bassanio, and Antonio. So, some historical events and classical allusions being used in the scene are there is a word named Nazarite. Nazarite means a native of Nazareth. Nazareth. Nazareth is a place in Jerusalem. So, Jesus lived in the town Nazareth, and so he is called as Nazarene. Nazarene. Nazareth is name given by the Hebrews to a person set apart and especially consecrated to Lord. So it's a holy word, Nazareth. Now, fawning publican. This is something being expressed by Shylock to introduce Antonio. The word publican is clearly derived from Gospels. Fawning means pleasing somebody by praising them. The expression fawning publican, however, seems contradictory, as publicans were anything but fawning. Publicans were tax collectors for Romans and were generally oppressive. They were hated by Jews because they were agents of Rome who collected taxes from the Jews. Publican is naturally term of contempt and loathing used by a Jew. Fawning publican is Shylock's view of the name man Antonio because he had been insulted by Antonio many times at the Rialto. Therefore, out of that anger, he calls and introduces Antonio as a fawning publican. The another name used is Jacob. Jacob is the son of Isaac and the grandson of Abraham. So Jacob's elder brother Esau was the inheritor of Abraham's property. But Jacob's mother played a trick to make Jacob Isaac's heir. So this story is being explained in the class, and I think you must be remembering. So these are the some of the allusions being used in the scene. Now, what is the scene all about? In scene, we see a conversation between Bassanio and Shylock. So here, this is the first scene where Shylock is being introduced. So, he is introduced as the most powerful dramatic figure in the play. We get to see the Shylock's hatred for Antonio, which is being intensified in this particular scene. So he tells that he had been ridiculed and insulted by Antonio at Rialto many times. So he tells that he does not want to lend money to his friend Bassanio. But foreseeing an opportunity to take revenge on Antonio, he agrees to give him a loan on a bond which will allow Shylock to cut off a pound of flesh from Antonio's body if he repays to pay the loan on time. So this bond story is the main plot around which an action in the play takes place. So the story takes place on the bond story. So there is a conversation which takes place between Antonio and Shylock as well. Even Antonio here requests Shylock for a loan which should be given to Bassanio. Okay, so he also requests Shylock to take a loan for Bassanio. So this way, this is the main theme of this particular scene. Now let's see the characteristics of main characters in the play. Shylock. Shylock is introduced here as a crafty, unscrupulous, and cruel person. Hatred for Antonio is very evident in the scene. The hatred for Antonio. Shylock also is very shrewd, cunning, and crafty. That's why he made Antonio sign in such a tricky document. So he has makes clever use of words in the scene. We see uh, cleverness of Shylock in using words, and there is a control over his dialogue, and he shows his cunningness, telling Antonio and Bassanio that the proposed clause about pound of flesh, which is intended merely as a joke. He tells that he takes this as a joke. So it's a cunningness from the part of Shylock. And Shylock is also unwise in not realizing that the bond implying cutting of pound of flesh goes against him according to the Venetian laws. So he should have thought that it might go against him as per the Venetian laws. According to Venetian laws, anything that happens to the civilian of a native person of Venice by the foreigners, then his property will be confiscated by the state. So these are the characters that we get to know, we can produce based on the scene. So Shylock is very crafty and scrupulous, cruel, hatred. Shylock's hatred for Antonio is very evident. He is very clever in using words, his cunningness, and also unwise in his decision. So these are the characteristics we can find in this scene. So you can note it down, and when the question is being asked, you can use your brain and find out the most suitable characteristics based on the passage that is given for you to comprehend. Now, when we talk about Antonio's character, we see a true friendship of Antonio towards Bassanio. His generosity is being seen, and his willingness to help his friend is really admirable. And we also see a Shylock who is intolerant, narrow-minded person as far as his treatment towards a Jew is concerned. We see Antonio's careless attitude towards money, which is evident in the play. So even though he has richly laden ships which are sent to different places, he doesn't have money to lend to Bassanio. That shows his careless attitude towards money. And Antonio's loyalty to Bassanio is a very important characteristics, which we can see in this particular scene. Now, when we talk about Bassanio, the characteristics of Bassanio is here again introduced as a carefree young man lending money for his luxuries from Antonio. And on the other hand, Bassanio's loyalty to Antonio is also evident. He tells Antonio not to sign the bond for his sake. So it shows his loyalty and friendship towards Antonio. So these are the characteristics we get about the main important characters of this particular scene. Now let's move on to Act 2, Scene 1. Act 1 has only 3 scenes. Now the next scene is Act 2. Act 2 has got 9 scenes. So let us discuss the first scene. First scene takes place in Belmont, a room in Portia's house. The characters are Prince of Morocco and Portia. The dialogues that are between only Morocco and Portia, although Nerissa and attendants are present, dialogue takes place only between Prince of Morocco and Portia. On the other hand, there isn't much biblical allusions or any other historical events being mentioned in this particular scene. So, as far as this scene is concerned, this scene begins with a lot of pomp, both visual and verbal. It is marked by the entrance of Prince of Morocco and one of the who is one of the suitors of Portia. He is dark in complexion, yet confident of his charm and valor. Portia forewarns that if he fails to choose the right casket, he would never be able to woo her for the lifetime. So he won't be able to marry a lady in his lifetime. This scene provides all necessary information about the lottery or caskets and the conditions attached to this who makes an effort. It also highlights the themes of prejudice based on racial and religious differences, along with gambling, games, and chants. So these kind of things that we get to know in this theme. Portia tells all the rules and regulations with regard to lottery or caskets. So there are some rules that are being mentioned. First, if he is not able to choose the right casket, then he won't be able to woo a lady in ever to get married to a lady in his lifetime is being mentioned in this particular scene. Now, let us talk about the characteristics of the main characters. So, first of all, let us talk about Prince of Morocco. So, here, Prince of Morocco is introduced as a warrior and self assumed man. He he is imposing on physical appearance and the proud of dark complexion. Next is he is an egoistic, that a person who thinks that he is better than other people. So he thinks that he is better than other people. So a lot of examples he shows that he is very brave, and he boasts of his red blood and valor in war. So these are characteristics of Morocco mentioned in this particular scene. When we talk about Portia, we can see the characteristics. She doesn't like this particular person, but she does not show any regret. She shows courteous and turns to be courteous and respectful even to Morocco, even if she doesn't like him. She confidently holds on um, to her composure. She is also shown as a obedient daughter because she accepts the will of her father and allows Morocco to go for the selection of caskets. And some witty remarks of Portia is also being found in this particular scene. So wittiness, courteous and respect, obedient, being obedient daughter, etc. are the characteristics mentioned in the scene with regard to Portia. Now let's move on to Act 1, Scene 2. Act 2, Scene 2. Act 2, Scene 2 takes place in the street of Venice. So the characters mentioned in the scene are Launcelot, Gobbo, Bassanio, Leonardo, and Gratiano. Who are the characters? Launcelot, Gobbo, who is the father of Launcelot, Bassanio, Leonardo, and Gratiano are the characters that we meet in this particular scene. In the scene, we see classical allusion of three sisters. Three sisters in Greek mythology were white-robed personifications of destiny. Three sisters are Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos. So, who are the three sisters? Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos. Clothos stands as spun the thread of life, and Lachesis measured the thread of life, and Atropos was the cutter of thread of life. So these three sisters are commonly known as fate or destiny. They were supposed to appear 3 nights after the child's birth to determine the course of child's life. They were usually described as cold, remorseless, and unfeeling. This is what we get to know about three sisters. It is being mentioned in this particular scene. Now, what is the content of this particular scene? We see a conversation between Launcelot and his father, Gobbo. So this scene is divided into 3 sections. First section we see, which is dominated by the antics of Launcelot Gobbo, Shylock's servant. In the beginning, he found debating with his conscience whether he should leave Shiloh's house or not. So we see a debate between debate of Launcelot to his conscience, whether to leave or not. At the end, he comes to know, makes a conclusion that he has to leave the house of Shylock and stop serving him and join Bassanio. So he teases his poor father, taking advantage of his blindness, and urges him to plead to Bassanio to employ him. In the second section, Launcelot meets Bassanio and enters his service. And in the third section, we see Gratiano requests Bassanio to let him accompany to Belmont. So this way, this scene is being divided. So first scene we see Launcelot asking questions or makes a decision whether to leave or not, whether to leave the service of Shylock or not. And as second session we see how Gobbo is being made fun of by his son Launcelot. How Launcelot plays prank with Gobbo. And third, we see Bassanio who requests Gratiano who requests Bassanio to allow him to accompany to Belmont along with Bassanio. We also see Launcelot meets Bassanio and joins his service. These are the main contents of this particular scene. So when we talk about the characteristics of Launcelot in this play, we can see he plays the role of a clown in this play because he contributes the mirth and gaiety through his antics in this play. We can also say that he is a lover of comfort. He decides to leave Shylock because he is famished in the Jew's house and he wants to take up service of Bassanio because he is wealthy and he will get all the things that he desires. Launcelot is quite callous in his behavior towards his father, who is a poor man. And Launcelot pretends in the scene as a person who possesses classical learning of knowledge of palmistry. So these are the characteristics that we get about Launcelot. Which are they? He is very entertaining in this scene because he plays the role of a clown and he is shown as a lover of comfort, and his callous behavior towards his father, and he pretends to be having classical learning and knowledge of palmistry in this particular scene. Now, let us move on to Act 2, Scene 3. Act 2, Scene 3 takes place in the room of Shylock's house in Venice. The main characters of this small scene are Jessica and Launcelot. Jessica and Launcelot are the characters in this scene. So, in the scene, we are introduced with Shylock's daughter Jessica and her love affair with Lorenzo. Shylock is not present in the scene, and Jessica expresses that she doesn't like to stay in her father's house, and Jessica makes a plan to elope with Lorenzo, who is a Christian. And Jessica gives a message to be delivered to Lorenzo in the hands of Launcelot. And then she expresses her plan to end the conflict between his love and for Lorenzo and loyalty towards his father by marrying Lorenzo. So these are the content of this particular scene, where Launcelot also says goodbye to Jessica, and Jessica expresses that Launcelot was the only person who could give her a consolation or a hope of happiness in this house. So let us discuss about the characteristics of the people. In this scene, Jessica is Jessica is shown as a woman who is ashamed of being the daughter of Shylock because she finds living in Shylock's house so suffocating. There is a conflict in the life of Jessica, which is seen in the scene as a conflict between obligation to her father and the desire to marry Lorenzo. And Jessica also seems quite heartless and unfaithful to her father and her religion in the scene because she decides to get married to a Christian who is not of her religion. That's why. So, if you are asked to write characteristics of Jessica pertaining to this particular scene, these are the things you have to write. Now let's move on to Act 2, Scene 4. In Act 2, Scene 4, uh, the characters are Lorenzo, Deciano, Celerino, and Selenio, and Launcelot. Who are the characters? Lorenzo, Graciano, Celerino, Selenio, and Launcelot. The scene takes place in the street of Venice. So this is a short scene that carries a subplot of Jessica's elopement with Lorenzo. Bassanio's friends have planned the celebrations at his dinner in the party. Lancelot delivers Jessica's letter to Lorenzo. Lorenzo informs Graciano how Jessica, disguised as a torchbearer, would escape from her father's house with money and jewels to elope with Lorenzo. So this scene provides a contrast to the serious business of world of Venice and dwells on the subjects of disguise, loyalty, and frivolity. Now, when we talk about the characteristics of important characters, Jessica is shown here as a woman of action. She not only makes a plan for the elopement, but also put it into action. She disguises herself as a torchbearer in a young boy's dress. So she is very clever enough to leave his father's house empty handed, so takes jewels and money along with her. So she is very clever as well. When we talk about Lorenzo is shown here as a carefree, careless young man. Carefree, careless young man. Launcelot in the scene plays the role of a messenger and also plays an important role in the subplot of elopement of Jessica. He plays a vital role for the preparation of elopement of Jessica and Lorenzo. Let's now move on to Act 2, Scene 5. This scene takes place in before Shylock's house in Venice. So main characters of the scene are Shylock, Launcelot, Jessica. So which are the characters of this scene? Shylock, Launcelot, Jessica are the characters of this particular scene. So where does this scene take place? This scene takes place before Shylock's house in Venice. So some of the historical and classical allusions being used in this scene. One is Black Monday. Black Monday is the day after Easter Sunday. On April 14, 1360, Edward III was near Paris with his army, and the day was so dark with mist and hail that many of the horses and men died. Therefore, Monday after Easter Sunday is called Black Monday in allusion to the fatal day. Okay, this is a reason why it is called as Black Monday. Next is Ash Wednesday. Ash Wednesday is the first day of Lent, which occurs about 40 days of fast before Easter. Now, another word is Hagar's offspring. Hagar is the maid of Abraham's wife Sarah, and later she becomes the second wife of Abraham, and they have a son called Ishmael. He is called the offspring of Hagar. So, in this scene, we see a dramatic irony where Shylock trusts his deceitful daughter with his possession while she is making a plan to betray him. Shylock has a trust in his daughter, thinking that she will take care of her possession, his possession, but she betrays him. And he intends to attend Bassanio's dinner party and leaves. Meanwhile, Lorenzo tells Launcelot reveals Lauren's plan of elopement during the night. So Jessica leaves her father's house, betraying her father's trust, and takes the jewels and precious stones and elopes along with Jessica Lorenzo in this scene. Act 2, Scene 6 takes place again in Venice before Shylock's house. Characters are Graciano, Solerino, Lorenzo, Jessica, Graciano, and Antonio. These are the characters. Antonio, Graciano, Lorenzo, Jessica, Celerino are the characters of this particular scene. The scene takes place before Shylock's house in Venice. So, Jessica in the scene elopes along with Lorenzo, disguises herself as a boy, and plays the role of a torchbearer in this elopement, and she takes Shylock's possession. And she is seen as she is so much ashamed of disguising herself as a boy's dress, and at the end and of also for her action of stealing the property of Shylock. At the end of the scene, Antonio informs Graciano of the winds favorable to sail, and gives information about Bassanio's departure to Belmont before the scheduled hour. So there is a particular time for the schedule of the journey, but since the wind are favorable, they've considered this as the time suitable for the journey, starting the journey. So this scene emphasizes the mutual desire of Jessica and Lorenzo, which bridges the religious and cultural differences. So it's beyond religion and cultural differences. And when we talk about Act 2, Scene 7, which takes place in Belmont, Portia's house, a room in Portia's house. The scene takes place in Belmont, a room in Portia's house. So the main characters of this Act 2, Scene 7 are Portia and Morocco. Morocco here uses his intelligence in selecting the caskets. So he introspects each and every inscription which is written on the three of the caskets and makes a selection of his own caskets based on his own rationality. So the scene takes place in Belmont, a room in Portia's house. The main characters are Portia and Morocco. So here Prince Morocco is attracted by the gold casket which says, "Who chooseth me shall gain what many men desire." So he is dazzled by the outward appearance of gold and chooses the wrong casket which contains a skull. Thus he loses the lottery and leaves at once with a heavy heart. So Portia is relieved of having got rid of this suitor because whom she does not like. So here we are introduced with inscriptions on each casket. So a golden casket is written, "Who chooseth me shall get what many men desire." And in the silver casket it is written, "Who chooseth me shall get as much as he deserves." In the lead casket it is written, "Who chooseth me must give and hazard all he hath." Who chooseth me must give and hazard all he hath. And what was written in the scroll which was kept in the golden casket, "All that glitters is not gold." Often it is being heard, and many people have lost their life because they had been attracted towards, or they ran along with the outward appearances. They have been enchanted by the outward appearances. Even the tombs that looks very attractive from outside have got worms within. So don't judge something from outward appearances. We must be young in spirit, and in judgment we must be old. Old means we should have some thought. Just we have to think like an old man. Wisely we have to make the decisions. That is what written in the golden scroll. And Act 2, Scene 8 takes place in the street, Venetian street. Here, Shylock discovers the elopement of daughter with a Christian and her theft of gold, jewels, and while fleeing. So, what are the things? He comes to know that his daughter is eloped with a Christian, and he also comes to know that she has taken a lot of wealth along with. So this intensifies his hatred for Christians and his desire for revenge towards Antonio. Celerino and Celenio talks about a shipwreck and hope that it is not Antonio's. This scene further highlights Antonio's love for Bassanio as he bids farewell to him with tearful eyes. So this scene takes place in the street of Venice. The main characters are Celerino, Selenio, who are talking about Antonio's shipwreck and so on. And Act 2, Scene 9 takes place in Belmont, a room in Portia's house. So the main characters of the scene are Nerissa, Portia, Prince of Aragon, and a servant. So this is the second suitor who tries to select his choice of caskets, who makes the selection of caskets. This scene shifts to Portia's house at Belmont, where Prince of Aragon makes his choice of the caskets. He selects silver caskets, which contains an idiot's head. Silver stands for conceit, vanity, and self-deception. All the three traits of Aragon's personality, which are the all the three characteristics of Aragon's personality. Here we see Portia quite relieved because Aragon also is unsuccessful in choosing the right casket. So then he is informed of the arrival of a Venetian suitor. Nerissa prays that let that person be Bassanio. So thus this scene ends with an anticipation of the fulfillment of lottery of caskets. We also come to know what are the three rules that they have to obey, the suitors have to obey. What are they? They have to promise that they would never get married to a woman in their life. They have to leave the place immediately once they choose the wrong casket. They are not supposed to reveal to anybody which casket they have selected. We see Aragon's personality as a person who represents as incarnation of pride. He has high self-esteem because of his nobility. And we also see him as a very proud man, and he has absolutely no doubt about his deservings. It was written in the inscription, "Who chooseth in the silver casket, who chooseth me shall get what as much as they desire." Therefore, he thought he is the most deserving person for Portia, thus chooses the silver casket. So it is done out of his proudness. So that's all for today. In the next class, I will help you to revise Act 3 and Act 4. Thank you.